good evening, and thanks, as always, for joining us here, night number 3, up here in Brooklyn, Michigan International Speedway. I'm Greg Olenek, joined by Curtis Swatsworth, as always, here on Thursday nights. Curtis, welcome, and welcome back from the nice little break here on SRN. We've had 2 really exciting races so far here in Michigan, and I'm liking our chances for a third here tonight. How you doing, man?
What's going on, Greg? Yeah, it was a great little break there. Hopefully you had a great 4th of July. Hopefully everybody out there had a great 4th of July. Getting ready to dive right back into this playoff season we've got going on here for SRN, and I'm super excited for tonight's race, that third race of the series, the lockout first round. I think we're going to have some real excitement tonight.
Yeah, so as always, the trend here this week is that cutoff theme here. And a few drivers, 6 of them more than likely, unless we have a tie there on the cut line, going to pack their bags and their playoffs will be done. But let's go ahead and check out those standings as they are after 2 races. And there you see Tristan Bailey taking over that number 1 spot from Jacob Manning with that win last week at Charlotte. He only had to lead the last 2 laps to get the win, but gets it done and moves into that top spot. So him and Manning are both clinched there in green. Causey, Seth Reed, Seth Berger round out the top 5. And then I think the guys who are not particularly safe but have a little cushion right here, Kyle Benson, Michael Larch, and Max Service. But Kyle Spees and De La Rosa, they've got some sweating to do here tonight. Truett's been running really good. Murray, never take your eyes off him. And I'm keeping my eye on that guy down there in 13th, Drew Ballesteros. Maybe he makes a splash like we've seen here twice already, Curtis.
Yeah, 11th through 13th is a very dangerous group of guys. That bottom half of the top 10, they really need to make sure that they have a decent race tonight. You don't want to be that guy that misses the playoff or the second round of the playoffs for a simple mistake. So, yeah, the tie for 3rd with Jack Hedgecock, or 13th for Jack Hedgecock and Drew Ballesteros, those 2 alone I would definitely be keeping my eye on if I'm Nathan De La Rosa or Kyle Spees. And Logan Truitt, like you said, also, those 3 right there are real contenders to get up into this top 10. If any one of the bottom half of the top 10 slip up tonight, it's not going to be fun for them at the end of the race.
Yeah, we saw the difference last night, just 1 point to the good for Trevor Williams there, the last driver to get in, putting Ben Park. So all it does sometimes is come down to 1 point. So everything's going to matter. We're going to see some guys taking chances, leading some laps here. Clean races will get you that extra bonus point as well. So keep an eye for all these things happening here tonight. But I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the Tier 2 Championship 2 before we move on to that team championship bracket. Aaron Gerwitz currently up in front of this thing after the drop week has been included. So 2 races so far, only one of them being counted. Gerwitz with the best finish out of everybody so far. Lautenschlager there in 2nd, Brandon Domain in 3rd, Deutscher and Bisol rounding out the top 5. And this list is going to grow after here tonight, so this championship's going to start ramping up, and this driver is racing for $50. Nice little add-on for these guys to race for.
Yeah, and that top 5, top 6 is going to really change tonight too. With Lautenschlager not making it in so far. I don't see him in the tally so far, so that's going to change him out of 2nd place. I really thought he had a shot for this if he was here every week. He's very tough to beat. He seems to always, every race he joins, he's usually right there in the top 10, so kind of surprised he's not here tonight.
Yeah, he is not in the field so far. Still about 5.5 minutes for these guys to finish up their qualifying session, so we'll wait and move on, check out the team championship while they do just that. Here's a look, Tank Racing with that bye the last week off for them. It's time to get down to business next week, but they're going to go ahead and await whoever wins this 4-5 matchup between JBR and High Line Racing. We'll get to that in just a second. JW going up against Barr, and Murray Reedy Motorsports and Phoenix Virtual Racing going head-to-head as well. So let's go ahead and check out that first matchup, JW Racing and Barr. And it's a little bit of a gap for Barr to cover, but one they might be able to if JW gets into some trouble here tonight. 74 points to the good. And with the week last week for JW, Ballesteros 2nd, Larch 9th, Manning 10th, all 3 in the top 10. It's going to be hard to cover that for Barr with just 2 drivers.
Well, JW Racing doesn't have their fourth driver here tonight, so I'm not seeing Shane Wolf in the group.
Yeah, no Shane Wolf or Robinson, so just three
No
drivers.
Robinson either, so that's gonna be tough.
Yeah, so luckily they have that 74-point cushion,
Yeah.
and we'll see if they are able to move on into that next round, and they'll face the winner of this highly contested matchup right here between Murray Reedy Motorsports and Phoenix Virtual. Just a 9-point difference to the good for Murray Reedy there. And Phoenix Virtual not wanting to go anywhere, but it's tough when you got Tristan Bailey out there turning out wins, getting that 45 points. Really helped his team last week.
Oh, absolutely helped them. With Phoenix, though, I don't see Jovi out on track, so that's going to be another one for that side.
Yeah, so no Jovi Ray for them out there this evening. They'll look to make some hay, though, with three drivers. I see Gerwitz Dow and Brandon Domain all out there. So they're going to try and make some noise here tonight, overachieving. You see they're averaging 75.2 points per race, and Murray Reedy right on par with that 90. So we'll keep an eye on this one. Very close between these two teams. And another close
It's only
matchup.
Gerwitz tonight.
No, Brandon Domain and Danny Dow are also on Phoenix Virtual.
I was gonna say I don't see Hedgecox, which is a surprise for the points. That's that gives an advantage to your driver tonight.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Sometimes life calls and you can't make it to the race. And unfortunately, he's probably going to be dropping out of the playoffs after this evening. So moving on, though, I want to go ahead and pay attention to this close contest. 32 points to the good for JBR Highline Racing, the 4-5 matchup here. Logan Truitt with that third place finish, and Nathan Sylvia coming in 11th last week, really doing some business there.
Yeah, this matchup here is going to be a tough one. I don't know if Highline can make up the points, but you can never count Seth Reed out. He'll always get you that top 5 most likely. Tiffany's usually right there in the top 10. I don't see Rayborn in the lineup for tonight, though, so
but
I don't know who else is on that team.
Yeah, they do have Daniel Keith Jr., who is currently qualified in the 5th position so far.
Oh, there you go.
So they are going to be looking to maybe try and make up some ground here this evening. So keep an eye for that here shortly. But let's go ahead, check out the sponsors as we always do here before we get out there on the track. Just under 2 minutes to go before we get this thing going here at Michigan. Go ahead and check out Silverback Tax Solutions. If you have any issues with the IRS whatsoever, go ahead, head over to silverbacktacks.com. Sean Griffith will get you all fixed up. Sparkle and Shine Mobile Detailing. Get that car looking really good this summer. Check them out on Facebook. Great company over there. And Butt Kicker coming on board, sponsoring us for the Hard Charger Award this season. They're going to be handing out one of their Butt Kicker Gamer 2s to the winner of each series Hard Charger. So we'll check that out here in a second. TJ's Team Foundation at morethanAcape.org, sponsoring each and every race's winning moment. So please check them out once again at morethanAcape.org. So let's go ahead, check out those Butt Kicker Hard Charger Award standings. And, man, this one's pretty much all sealed up with the way Kyle Spees has set himself apart from Taylor Smith. And then he has a big gap over Brandon Richardson. Barr really doing some business here in the Xfinity Series. So Kyle Spees definitely going to qualify here tonight with where he's at here on the standings. Not going to really worry about this because I'd say it's all locked up.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely locked up. 2nd through 5th isn't even in the field tonight. So I think other than De La Rosa, Benson, and Murray, but those guys are so far down in the average. Kyle's got this one. He actually went out and qualified again, too, so I'm glad he listened to us a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, so he is not going to be too worried about that. And once again, this is what they are racing for, that Butt Kicker Gamer 2, a really nice piece of equipment. Thanks once again to Butt Kicker for coming on board and sponsoring us here at SRN. So looks like
I really like one of these.
Yeah, I've had one before. Unfortunately, had to move on from it, but now I'm wanting one again, and I want to see how it works, and maybe it helps my driving because Lord knows I need it. So I see some cars starting to get out there on the track. I think that means one thing, and I think that means that qualifying is over. So let's go ahead, head out there to the blimp here at
Guess
Michigan.
who's going to be happy tonight, Greg?
Who's that?
Those Burger fans.
Oh, yeah, they're definitely going to be happy with Berger on the pole. You see him there. But we're here in Brooklyn, Michigan, and race number 3 this week, a cutoff week here for these Xfinity drivers. So let's go ahead and check out that starting order. And yeah, we already kind of hinted at it. Seth Berger gets that pole and by a 500ths advantage over Jacob Manning there. So that's going to be your front row. Seth Reed, Danny Dow in row number 2, Logan Truitt, Daniel Keith in row 3, Ballesteros and Joseph Causey in row number 4. And then you got Nathan De La Rosa and Michael Larch in row 5 with Kyle Spees and Aaron Gerwitz in row 6. So 25 cars in the field tonight, but a pretty good looking field here. We got some heavy hitters and some guys that are going to be looking to make some noise. Who are you thinking about picking here this evening?
Well, before I get that, I got to put a shout out in the chat. Grandma's already in the chat rooting on her grandson. Miss Spees is out there rooting on Kyle. He is up 11 tonight, so looks like the first chat person I've seen pop in there. So big shout out to her for always coming out and rooting on her grandson. That's awesome to see. Wish I could get my grandparents to figure out how to get on and watch me at least broadcast or anything else. Maybe not race because I kind of suck. But as far as my pick tonight, this is a tough one. You got the top 3 in there that are consistently battling for the point lead. I'm kind of surprised about Tristan Bailey qualifying down in 18th. That's actually a huge surprise to me, but I don't know. I don't know if I should go with Seth Reed, who's been really fast. I don't know if I should go with Berger. We've talked about it in the past with these guys complaining, maybe saying, there's some sort of, hoopla or whatever you want to call it on picking them. But
see, like I said, I don't ever worry about that.
I know. I don't worry about it either. I just don't like, when they do have an accident, them think it's my fault, but they're the one in the driver's seat. So you know what? Since I know who you're picking, I'm going to do the exact same and pick in that exact same group, even though I was told not to. And I'm going to go with the 50 of Jacob Manning.
All right. So, Curtis.
I haven't picked him in like 2 months, so.
Hey, I think it's a wise pick. He's been running really well here lately. You kind of hinted at it. I'm going with the trend here this week. We've had 2 kind of Hail Marys, if you want to call it that, in the last 2 races with guys that were a little bit out trying to get that big push to get in. And I think we're going to see that again here tonight with Ballesteros 17 points back. I think he needs a win and some help here tonight. And I don't know if he gets the help, but I think he's going to get the win. We saw JW do just that with their Trevor Williams truck in that 46. They worked together to get him out in front, but I think we're going to see a lot of the same here tonight with Drew Ballesteros. So coming to the stripe, that's Silverback Tax Solutions. Green flag is out, and we are underway here at Michigan.
Yeah, Greg, I'm excited to see what these guys are going to do on these restarts. You want to make up a position as fast as you can because Michigan's one of those tracks where everybody gets, stretched out, single-filed, and it can be a long race for some guys trying to make position up. So you're going to see a lot of guys trying to make that dive and try to make up any position they can right off the start.
Well, looking like Jacob Manning, looking like he wants to make a move, and that's a move to the front as he's down to the inside of Seth Berger. Going to put a little side draft on him here, running really close, entering turn 3. But so far, Seth Berger going to prevail, come back to the stripe, and lead the first lap here at Michigan.
And once you get that position, that's where it's tough for guys to make the pass. The draft does play a little bit into this, but it's just hard to make those passes. As soon as you get side by side with somebody, it just stalls you. So really the third guy in line is the one that can take advantage of both, and you might see 2 cars being passed at once if the moves are done at the right time.
Well, look at that, 4 wide further on back in the pack, but don't want to take my eyes off this battle for the lead. Now Manning to the outside of the 77, and Berger not wanting to give up that clean air just yet, rightfully so. Track position is very key here at Michigan. It's a very draft-heavy track, but you want to be that guy out in front. A hard track to pass at because there's so many lines to race, and they're all really fast here.
Absolutely. I've seen a lot of guys try to wrap the bottom. I've seen guys run through the middle. You can see the 3 or 4 distinct lanes with those seams right there with the black seams going down the lanes. So those are your lanes that you can possibly drive in, but I prefer the second and third seam. I don't like being down on that bottom yellow line, and I don't like running the top line. I prefer to kind of go in the third seam and kind of roll down to the second seam and then just roll back out of the corner. You see a lot of guys try to use that apron, though. I don't know how much it's going to work tonight, though.
You can see the hands there in the 50 working that wheel. Seems like a relatively easy track here at Michigan because how big it is, but your car still wants to get loose on you. You see the 77 kind of stepping out here, especially in these Xfinity cars with the low downforce package on these things. This is a very sketchy track to be racing at. I mean, take a look at the speeds going 191 into turn 4 for Jacob Manning. That's our leader. The guys further on back in this draft going even faster than that.
Yeah, I mean it's practically a Daytona Talladega style track. It's just you got to be a little bit smoother. You got to let off a little bit and let it roll through the corner. But you're not off the gas very long here, especially at the beginning. The problem we were seeing there with the guys stepping out a little bit, that's why I don't like that bottom line down the line. It always seems like the back end on these Xfinity cars and the trucks, they want to slip out on you. That's why I kind of run that third and second groove, because it seems like the car, it loads into the corner a little bit better and doesn't off or get the weight off the tires to where it wants to come around on you. But when you're on the bottom line, it doesn't load as much, so that's why I just prefer not to be down there. But Berger's making it work down there.
Yeah, just a multi-groove track. I mean, this is pure definition when they use that phrase, multi-groove track. This is what you think of here, and that's why we're seeing such a great race in the front right now. Don't want to take my eyes off it, even though there's great racing throughout the field. This is what we want, side-by-side racing for the lead. And Seth Reed wanting to get in the mix now. He's going on by Seth Berger. Looks like Berger might have got a little loose on the exit there and killed the momentum all the way down that backstretch, which is a very long backstretch here at Michigan. But he's able to really send it in there to 3. His entry there down low, I think, is what's benefiting him the most, and comes up right side by side with the 50, and it's a drag race back to the line.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to see that all night. You're going to see guys trying to use that bottom groove. And you're right. Him diving down in there from the third groove all the way down to the bottom is giving him that. I mean, he's cutting so much of the corner by doing that. The only problem is that he's scrubbing off speed, and he's not carrying as much speed through the corner. So when Manning comes off the corner side by side with him, or even at his back fender, there's so much speed that he's carrying through the straightaway that he pulls right past him again. But then you'll see Berger come right up again. So it's just a cat and mouse back and forth, and Reed's being real patient back there, but I think he's ready to take that second position from Berger.
Well, looks like Kyle Benson has disconnected from this race, and
Ooh.
That is going to be something to keep an eye on. Not sure what's going on there.
Hopefully he can get back in here.
Yeah, I hope everything's okay over there. Maybe have some weather or something, which you've seen quite often here in the summer, but Benson, with the season he's had, should definitely move on, but 24 points to the good on that cut line. Some guys are going to really take notice of that.
25 guys in the field.
Yep, with
if Murray, Truitt, or one of them go in here and win this race and get max points, you could see Benson slide down.
Yeah, so we'll see. I mean, Logan Truitt with the third place finish last week, he can get it done, and already kind of lurking around there in the top 10. He's down there in 8th place right now, but the battle up front now between Jacob Manning and Seth Reed here. It seems like we've been side by side out front in this entire race so far. Great race to this point. A few big movers to take note of. One of them you see there in that 42, Joseph Causey, now up to 4th after starting in the 8th position. Kyle Spees, who started 11th tonight, already up in 7th. And Nathan Sylvia back there in 15th, up 8 positions, as well as Deutscher, who's in 16th. He's up 9. So some big movers already to this point, and feel like it's going to be another 2-stop race here. So this is where you want to kind of be saving your tires here. So I'm keeping my eye on that 77 back there in 3rd. I think he's just kind of riding around right now, letting these guys battle it out, and him and Causey are going to pounce when they start to see that difference in grip.
Yeah, I think Berger might have hurt his tires down there on the bottom lane like that, running so far low. But speaking of stalking, like you were saying, or sitting back there, I was going to mention Causey and Kyle Spees both coming Kazi is who I usually wind up picking because he's been so dominant, but I didn't pick him this week, so we'll see if that changes for him and he can come up here. But going up 4 positions already in the race, he might be using his stuff a little early, but he's definitely sitting back here lurking, waiting to figure out what these 3 are going to do. Because these 3 have been battling nonstop. It's been side-by-side action for 2 of the 3, and change them out if you want, but they've been battling back and forth now.
So it's starting to sort itself out, and just when you think it does, Seth Berger takes it to the inside of that 50. Jacob Manning now in danger of falling back to 3rd, and maybe in the clutches of that 42, Joseph Kazi. So we're going to start seeing, like you said, these guys who are saving their stuff a little better than the others starting to separate themselves from the rest. So let's go ahead, maybe take a look further on back in the field. Aaron Gerwitz, another one of those big movers so far, up 4 positions now. He's to the inside of Kyle Spees here. This battle for 8th. Drew Ballesteros right to the outside of Aaron Gerwitz right now. So great battle back here in the back of the top 10. And this is where some drivers, I mean, you see Logan Truitt right here in 7th. These are drivers to pay attention to tonight.
Yeah, that's the handful of guys we said right there between 11th and 13th. That for sure had a shot if they could really make some moves tonight, and maybe got a little luck on their side too with some of the guys. But already this many laps in the race, Benson's out due to a technical issue. So what happens to anybody else? Does anybody else get caught up in a wreck or have issues as well as far as technical issues? Any one of those issues happen, and you're looking at 11th through 13th that are going to pounce if they can.
Well, right now, that's really good for Logan Truitt because I believe he should be able to move by Kyle Benson if he gets enough points here tonight. But this is the battle right here coming into this race between teammates, the 66 and 91. This is the cut line battle. I want to keep an eye on the driver there. That was 11 points out from the cut line. Tyler Murray is back there in 15th. So starting to see a little bit of separation here as it's pretty much single file throughout the whole field, and that's what we expect to see as these laps tick off. Wow, De La Rosa gets really tight there, and that's going to give 91 of Truitt a look to the inside. He's going to move right on by his JBR teammate, looks like.
Yeah, and I mean, that's with Benson being out, that's also good news for De La Rosa. But, I mean, like I said, there's still 12th and 13th with 2 guys in 13th that really going to be paying attention to. But Hedgecock's not being here tonight. It's really going to come down to Truitt, De La Rosa, and Ballesteros to make up as many points as they possibly can with Benson going out. If he doesn't come back in and get any laps back and make up any positions, he's going to be stuck in that 25th position. And the way that these drivers are driving so far, I mean, De La Rosa's up to 7th, Ballesteros is 9th. Where is the other one? I don't know where the other one is.
Murray.
But, Tyler Murray. So, yeah, he's 15th. So, if those guys can get up here, Ballesteros and Truitt and De La Rosa can get up here and lead some laps, that, I mean, it's a toss of a coin. Don't know who's going to get it. It might come to that one point, like you said, for earlier in the week.
Yeah, it's kind of been the trend here this week, just heroics late in races. We've seen two tire stops work for Jordan Sailors in a green-white checker scenario, and then it just really worked out last night as well for Trevor Williams, having his teammates up there to kind of help defend any run from anybody because he had to get those extra bonus points to move on. It came down to every little point. He got in by 1. I think we could very well see the same thing here tonight with how close this cut line is here in the Xfinity Series. So back out front, Seth Reed with about a quarter of a second lead over Seth Berger. Seems to be just a battle of the Seths here in the Xfinity Series, and why not? And then you got Jacob Manning back there in 3rd, Joseph Kazi in 4th, and Danny Dow with a great run back here in 5th tonight, really putting it together for Phoenix Virtual Racing. So don't take your eyes. Keep in mind, they're in a very tight battle, Murray Reedy Motorsports, and Kyle Benson is on Murray Reedy Motorsports, so they need every point they can get here tonight with Phoenix Virtual Racing running really well. You got Danny Dow in 5th, Aaron Gerwitz back there in 10th, and Brandon Domain in 12th. It spells bad news right now for Murray Reedy Motorsports.
Yeah, and I'm noticing some other things too. Kyle Spees has gotten up, or he had gotten up to 6th. He's fallen back down to 9th after starting 11th. I don't know if he's just letting his tires cool, or if these guys that maybe set back a little bit and lost a few positions, Ballesteros dropped 3 positions from the start, and now he's made up 2 more positions to get back into almost to where he started. Were those guys conserving tire from the start of the race? I mean, we're 18 laps into the race. This is where, if you were conserving, now is when you want to start going, because those guys that were really pushing their tires are going to really start falling off. So is this what's happening? I mean...
Oh, Joseph Causey.
Oh.
Spinning through the grass right now. No caution as he's off the track. He's going to have to get it going back and back on the track. Looks like it's a one-car incident right now. Still no caution.
I'm kind of surprised on that. He's
really
trying to get it going, but it's just...
with those hot tires.
Spinning tires.
Yeah, with those hot tires right now, it feels like you're driving on ice. He's going to get it back up to speed, but be well off the pace. I mean, he's 20 seconds back now of Seth Reed and steadily losing time, so he's about half a track back right now. But back out in front, the lead still maintaining about 0.2 of a second. Michael Larch and Aaron Gerwitz, though, battling really close as they come by the line here to start lap number 20. Side by side for a top 10 position here. This is a 9th place battle.
Trying to go back and see what happened to Kazi here, because I was just about to say if he had been conserving
Kyle
at all.
Spees, big time to the wall. Larch gets loose. And both drivers keep it going in the right direction, but that was a big hit there for Spees.
Oh. Well, quickly, before we get on to this incident here, I actually see what happened. Manning turned Kazi from 3rd position. He was battling, and Manning slid up the track and caught him right in the left rear, and Kazi went around there on the front stretch.
Yeah, I can actually bring that up right here. We can go ahead, rewind it really quick while we're under green flag conditions. This is exactly what you're talking about. We'll start it from right here. These two racing really close side by side, and they're going to make contact off of 4, and Kazi's going to go for a ride through that infield.
Yeah, I think Manning just got tight and just slid up the track and caught the left rear. Manning, I mean, he was on the outside, didn't have a whole lot of room on the outside, but he was already there. So Manning just lost it a little bit.
This is the other incident here with Kyle Spees just to the outside of Michael Larch. We're going to see them get really tight off it too. Larch slides up, gets big time into Spees, and that's a big hit there for the 25. So that's going to be heavy damage on the 25 machine, who is needing a really good run here tonight. Larch is in the wall now as we come back live.
Wow. There's all kinds of stuff happening. This is what those guys right on the cut line were looking for. I mean, that's Spees, who's in the top 10. That's Kazi, who's in the top 10. It's Benson, who's in the top 10. Those are 3 drivers that can't have bad races. They're not secured into the second round.
Yeah, so Large sitting there 19 points to the good. We've seen Spees there 14 points to the good, having issues here tonight. So this is kind of helping Benson out right now that a few other drivers are having these issues. So, man, this has just been a wild last couple of laps as you see Large bring it down pit road.
Yeah, I don't know. They're not going to be able to get too much repaired on this, I don't think. So, and Spees, with the hit he got, I'm surprised that car's even driving straight.
Yeah, typically the rule of thumb is you don't fix repair under green flag conditions, because the time you lose, it's just not going to be worth it. You got to make it to a caution. So we'll see if Larch does just that. But regardless, he's going to go down and lose a lot of time still underway with his pit stop, and looking like he's going to make some repairs. So must be heavy damage to that 52. We'll keep an eye on this, because this battle for the playoffs in the round of 10 is getting kind of crazy here. It's so much going on. I don't know who's going to advance at this point.
And I can imagine Kazi's probably screaming, "Caution, caution, caution!" But
Ooh, he watched right there.
Ooh, he probably saw some smoke coming from up front of him, and he was probably hoping for a caution since he's halfway back behind the field. But no luck for him.
Yeah, and it's one of those things. And I mean, don't get me wrong, we all love iRacing, but one of the things they kind of need to work on getting fixed is the incidents that happen kind of off the track, because it only registers kind of danger to the other competitors if you're on the surface. So if you're spinning down there in the grass or in the infield right here below that white line, on the backstretch, typically you're not going to see a caution come out. So unfortunate break for some guys sometimes when there is an incident like that, and now Causey going to have to work to stay on the lead lap.
Yeah, they need to set it to where it's for ovals only. If you touch the grass, if you're spinning across the grass and stuff, that it's a caution, because I think the problem is if they set it that way, if you go to a road course and you cheat the corner a little bit and you touch the grass and a caution comes out every time, I think you're going to have some mad drivers.
So Seth Berger now taking the lead, and I figured we might see this. I hinted at it a few laps ago. Felt like he was kind of riding really smooth back there while these two and Seth Reed and Jacob Manning were really battling hard for that lead, and now Seth retakes the lead as he was leading early on in this race, takes it back over, and we're going to start possibly maybe figuring out when we're going to see our first round of pit stops here again. I think it's going to be a 2-stop race. It was last night for the trucks. A little bit of longer distance here tonight with the 85 laps. We're going to see some people start to come down here really soon, I feel like.
Yeah, and the top three have really separated themselves from the rest of the field. I mean, you're talking 2 seconds back to Logan Truitt, another second between Truitt and Ballesteros, and then another second between Ballesteros and De La Rosa. So there's a lot of gaps up front. But Berger, I mean, he sat back there. He ran hard at the beginning against Manning. He backed off. He cooled his tires down. He let those two go up there and battled out, and then put his tires to use and came back through them. And now he's back out front, and he's looking really, really strong tonight. I mean, that's a driver. What did he win? 4 in a row, 5 in a row, a couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
so,
it was ridiculous.
He's on a roll. So I don't think he was really looking forward to the break of 4th of July stuff coming. But I mean, he's on a roll. So I don't see him giving up that lead again.
Well, it's a real art to just be able to save your stuff. I mean, it's really hard. We're race car drivers. We're not patient, and that's exactly what you need to be a really good race car driver, and that's why you see these guys. Yeah, that's why you see these guys really separating themselves. I mean, these three have been among the best here in the Xfinity Series all season long, and I mean, this is exactly why these long runs really pay dividends for them, and they're just able to save their stuff. And you do see a lot of progress. I mean, you see Logan Truitt and Nathan De La Rosa, Nathan Sylvia, all these guys up here in the top 10 who've made significant progress here this season. Number one being Ben Park. They learned that because we have so many long runs here in Speed Racing Network, and it really starts to make a really great series in all three of our leagues. So I think we're seeing that here this season, and I think we're going to see a few other competitors make their way up to the front. You see Logan Truitt now up to 4th.
Yeah, and the other thing, too, is a lot of guys that came from Xbox side, when we pulled over and went into the pits on NASCAR Heat, you had unlimited sets of tires. They have limited sets of tires. You can limit how many sets of tires, how much fuel the fuel run is, things like that. So it can really play into a part of strategy. And if you have really good drivers on track and they have long green flag runs where you have consistent green flag stops, you've really got to pay attention to the tires and fuel and really get into that strategy game, because it plays a huge factor in leagues like this where you have such high level skill to where you don't have cautions. But I got to mention too, I'm surprised we haven't talked about this already, but look at the 88. He fell all the way down to 18th. He started it back there. He is up 9 positions. He is in the top 8.
He certainly is, and he's going to pick up a few more spots as we see our leaders come down pit road. Seth Reed as well as Jacob Manning both coming down. A few others, Nathan De La Rosa, Gerwitz, Dow, Domain, Deutscher, and Tiffany. Everybody coming down pit road, and the pit cone back there taking a little ride too through the grass. So have about 9 drivers all together down pit road. The top 9 have yet to make their first stop here of the evening. So we'll see if we see Seth Berger come down this time in the 77. Have to imagine he won't stay out too long.
Yeah, it's only about, a second and a half difference between old tires and the fresh tires. So.
Oh, Truitt!
Ooh. Stay off the wall.
Big time loss there for the 91.
He almost backed it up into a non-playoff driver, but I don't know who that is back there in the black car. But I'm sure they were puckering real tight whenever he backed
Michael
up.
Pickey there that had to.
He threw a reverse there, and I was like, oh, God.
Yeah, so Daniel Keith Jr. going to be the leader now. Robert Beasall Jr. just behind him. Those are the only two drivers that have yet to make their first stop of 2 here under green. No cautions to this point, all green flag laps. Great race between 25 drivers. 1 out so far, that being our sixth place driver, Kyle Benson, in the standings. So some storylines really starting to heat up here in the cutoff race. Both of these guys going to make their first stop on lap 32, and that will hand the lead back over to Seth Berger once he comes around. Well, not too long. Yep. Seth Reed going to be the leader.
Reed's coming. I don't know what that was. I don't know if maybe Berger just wasn't up to speed, or maybe if he was letting Reed go, but Reed was coming hard on that one. So I don't know what that was, but paying attention to the rest of the standings, though, that I'm keeping an eye on Kyle, because Kyle's sitting back there in 23rd. He's got a banged up car, and he's already at risk of going a lap down as he's coming off turn 2 and going through the middle part of the backstretch. Reed is coming off of turn 2 now, so he's only half a straightaway in front of the leaders from going a lap down, locking him in that 23rd position, and that's not good news. We've been green. We haven't had a caution yet. We've had some close calls. Spees was in it, but if he can't get back on the lead lap, he's going to be stuck down there in 23rd, and he wasn't that far out in front in points from 10th.
Well, battle here for second. Seth Berger lost the lead to Seth Reed, and now possibly staring down, losing second here to Jacob Manning. But like we saw him do last time, he kind of,
I think this is my plan.
Yeah, just hung out behind these two, saving his stuff a little bit. So Jacob Manning gets on by, takes over that second position. So with those round of pit stops over, we're going to step aside real quick, run a quick commercial break, and be right back.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
Silverback Tax Solutions specializes in dealing with IRS tax problems. If you are receiving threatening letters from the IRS, or if the IRS has placed liens or levies on your property, Silverback Tax Solutions can help you find relief. We have worked with hundreds of people to resolve their tax problems. If you're behind on filing your taxes, it's never too late to get on the right track. Silverback Tax Solutions can help with that also. Don't let another night go by where you lose sleep worrying about the IRS or your taxes. Head over to www.silverbacttax.com or call 662-996-4357 and contact an enrolled agent today. We can help you gain peace of mind and deal with those problems for you.
Want to be a part of an established league on iRacing? A league that's competitive, fun, and above all fair? Look no further than Speed Racing Network. Originally known as Mid-South Madness, SRN has evolved into a league that can bring the best out in any given driver. Drivers work their way up through the ranks to hopefully one day call themselves a champion of Speed Racing Network. If you're interested in joining, don't hesitate to reach out to league admins to claim your spot today. Maybe you'll end up in the history books. If you're interested in becoming a sponsor in Speed Racing Network, feel free to head over to www.speedracingnetwork.com and reach out to an admin today. And as always, remember to go faster.
All right, you guys did not miss one bit of the action. Back out here on lap 38, Seth Reed, your leader by about 0.7 of a second over Jacob Manning. Seth Berger sitting there in third, 1 second back, and then a big gap back to the fourth place driver, Drew Ballesteros, and Aaron Gerwitz. A great run so far here in fifth.
Yeah, Greg, I don't know if we're going to see too much action outside of a few positions, because everybody's gotten spread out. There's a lot of gaps of a second or two between a lot of cars. You've only got a couple or a handful of cars that are side by side with each other, as we're watching now the 21 and the 66 make a pass on the 66. But I mean, there's a lot of separation all over the track, including the lead.
Yeah, so move Danny Dow on up to 6, just behind his Phoenix Virtual Racing teammate there, Aaron Gerwitz. So a great run for them so far. They need it here tonight. Down 9 points in the team championship race. And with Murray Reedy Motorsports having some trouble with Kyle Benson, who is out of this race, this is a time to pounce for them, and they're doing just that. Their third driver here tonight, Brandon Domain, further on back there in 15th. So like you said, starting to kind of calm down a little bit. Not too many battles out here on the track.
No, and I mean, I definitely want to mention Ballesteros and Gerwitz, Truitt, Sylvia. I mean, they're all battling for their respective position in the playoff points, and they're making the most of it. I mean, with the struggles from Benson getting knocked out of the race, Spees getting put up into the wall, Kazi spinning, they're making as much moves as they can, or as many moves as they can, to try to get into this next round of the playoffs. And Ballesteros, you picked him at the beginning of the race here, and he
gets a caution, man.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's flying around this track. If he could get a little bit closer to the top 3 and actually have position with those guys, I think they'd be in trouble with him, because he's one of the fastest guys on track.
Yeah, I mean, you're exactly right. I'm going to try and pull that information up right now, because he is making up time on these leaders. I mean, he is in the green for the last 2 laps. It's not much, but that's a 1/10 of a second there in 2 laps that he's chipped off this lead. So if he can get some help, yeah, I mean, if he does get that caution, F54 is going to be in the mix, and it's going to be a great battle, and he's going to be going for it because he needs every point. Even though he's seen some people go down here tonight, 17 points back coming into this race, you need to get everything you can. So Seth Berger moves on by Jacob Manning, takes second place, put Jacob back there in third, and they're going to try and run Seth Reed back down a little bit because he's kind of set the pace here, and now up to 3/4 of a second lead over that 77. He's trying to break that draft, but I don't think he's done that yet. I think the 77 can still get a little sniff of some air here and can probably run this 81 down.
Yeah, and we saw earlier the 77 was really kind of conserving his tires after he ran side by side with Manning for the first about 5 to 10 laps. Then he kind of sat back and conserved and let Reed and Manning battle it out for the next like 20 laps, and then all of a sudden here come Berger riding up through, and he went right to the lead. So he set back now for about 10 laps, and he made the move on Manning, and now he's going to try to run down Reed again. He's 13 laps into his run, or 12 laps into his run. The other guys are a lap older tires, so it's not very much as far as, you know, being able to make up time on guys with 1 lap older tires, but I mean, it does play a part a little bit. I'm sure he would love to see, you know, a 3 to 4 lap or tire lap difference, but he's definitely making up time on Reed. He's 2/10 faster now.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we've seen, though, in the last 2 races here this week in the Trucks and the Cup Series. Even 1 lap or 2 laps will go big time here, and it's really gone a long way for those guys that do stay out longer. So Berger with that extra lap, and he's been proven to save those tires a little bit better on that last long green flag run. We'll see if he's doing just that here tonight. Got that gap down to 1/4 of a second between him and Seth Reed here, just over the halfway mark of this race. So it's go time here. You don't want to let the 81 get too far out ahead. Might be a little hard once you lose that draft. So these guys are going to try and break away from the 50 as they come to start lap 45.
Yeah, and I kind of think Reed maybe he needs to go back and watch some of these races the last few weeks, because we've talked about it, and he's been one of the faster guys on track. He's led a ton of laps. We saw him lead a bunch of laps last race and fell short. He got passed up coming to towards the end of the race and wound up losing that race. So I think he's just got to work on conserving tires. He's kind of like Tristan, where I always say, you know, they're to the floor. There's no slowing them down or nothing like that, and they're super fast. But guys who learn conserving, that's the name of the game in iRacing, is conserving your stuff. I mean, it is in real life too on some tracks where you just got to watch your tires. And Berger, I mean, you saw him 1 lap fresher tires. He didn't run as super hard when he first came out of the pits. Reed and Manning were coming really hard right out of the gate from when they pitted. And then obviously Berger conserving tire too. So even though he has 1 lap fresher tires, if he conserved, he may have 3 3-lap fresher tires compared to the other guys who ran really hard as soon as they came out of the pits.
Yeah, so Jacob Manning, the fastest driver out of the 3 that last lap, and looking like it might be the same here this lap. So the 50 is starting to try and get back up into this mix too, as the 77 gets ever so close to the bumper of that 81, trying to mess up the air on that rear spoiler, maybe get a little loose through the turns and go right on by, maybe see a slide job here in the next few turns. But we'll see as he goes down another lane below that 81, running that lower line. Seems to be working in some cases, but right now that 81 proven to be stronger there on the high side, and still creeping closer is Jacob Manning back there in the 50. We're about to have a 3-horse race again for this lead, and this is awesome, and this track has proven to be great here this week. Nobody able to get away out in front all week long, and that's what we want.
Yeah, and if Berger can get side by side with Reed, that's just going to draw Manning in even more. But the benefit for Manning is Reed is Berger, since they're both named Seth, he's cutting the corner as he's now going to try to do the slide job. Like you said, he's cutting the corner, which brings him closer to Reed's bumper. And then as they come onto the straightaway, he's got the draft. So the 81 is just dragging him around this track, but the 77 is cutting the corners to get closer and closer to that back bumper. And this is now what he's going to try to do. But Manning,
slide job right here.
He's coming.
He's going to slide right up in front of this 81. The 81 not going to like it, but he's got to get up there. We'll see if set 3
He's trying
decides.
to turn it.
He's going to block him down low, and the 81 going to get to the high side. And I think he's got a nose to the outside of the 77, see if he can get some side draft on that rear spoiler. Not able to do so, but we have ourselves a battle for the lead. And getting closer is that 50 back there chipping away at that lead. And we're about to start lap 50 here, so running out of time to run away with this thing. Set 3 not going away as he goes down low.
Yeah, Reed gave him a little bit of a bump when he first did that first slide job, and you could see the 77 wiggle. But now you've got Reed crossing him up with that lap car that was in the way, to where it didn't allow Berger to go down and block too hard. Now Reed trying to do the same thing, but I think Berger's conserved enough tire to where it's going to be super hard to make that pass on him with fresher tires.
Yeah, riding on board here with set 3, the second place driver out of Highline Racing. It's going to try and find a better line here to maybe get back at the 77, see if he can get ahead. But I think you're exactly right. I think we're going to start seeing that 77 put a little bit of time and distance between him and the rest of the field, just saving his stuff as he let Jacob Manning go on by early in that run to go ahead and battle Seth Reed here. And both these guys with a little hotter tires, a little less grip, are going to start paying that price as Berger is already out to a 3/10 lead.
Yeah, if Reed and Manning want to, change the story of this race after this next green flag stop when it's coming up here, they've got to conserve when they come out of the pits. They can't go all out as soon as they go out on track. I know they're trying to do that to try to be out in front of Berger enough to where maybe it doesn't, his tires being a little bit fresher don't compensate for them running so hard. But I really think the two of them just need to come out and just ride together, nose to tail, and just conserve and let Berger do the exact same thing if he's going to continue to do that. It takes away his advantage.
I want to go ahead and shout out the 36 right now, currently our butt kicker hard charger of the race to this point, up 18 positions after starting the night. And the second to last row in 23rd, up to 5th place for Sylvia, who is also one of those drivers who needs a big run here tonight. Not sure if he can get it done with how far back he is, but still in this thing nonetheless. He is back there 30 points back, and with what I've seen so far this year, I'm not counting anything out.
Yeah, and I'm still looking at the standings here. Speed's still back there in 23rd. Benson's obviously still off track. Kazi hasn't made up too many positions. He's only made up 3 since going back there to about 22nd. He's up to 19th, so still hasn't made a huge jump. The other guy, though, that I was talking about earlier that slipped back in the field, he's making his charge again late in this run. He's up to 7th already. Tristan Bailey, he's up 11 positions from his starting position, but after that green flag stop, I paid attention to where he came out. He came out 15th. So on this run alone, he's up 8 positions. So that's that's not good for everybody else. If we do have a caution, like we said about Drew Ballesteros, he's praying for a caution. I'm sure Bailey is too, because those two are really fast on long runs. I think they're just as fast as Berger is. So that's two guys I would definitely watch for if we have a caution.
Yeah, so we'll see if we do get that caution, but not to this point. We have 53 green flag laps all in the book so far, currently turning lap number 54, and it's starting to get a little bit more spread out amongst everybody here on the track. The lead still about a quarter of a second for Seth Berger. Seth Reed hanging in there. Jacob Manning starting to fall off, but lap car just ahead. Kyle Spees possibly going to go a second lap down.
Yeah, and you're going to see green flag start, or green flag pit runs start here as the 16's already down pit road. That was the initial person that came down first last green flag stop, and then we waited about a 5 to 8 lap run, and more guys started coming down. So they're within their window here in the next probably 2 laps. They should be able to finish with ease, even if we have a green-white checkered. So I would expect the leaders to be coming down within the next 3 to 5.
Keeping an eye on the battle here for 5th. Max Service really working hard on Nathan Sylvia here. That's the driver of the 89 in the Bergeson Farms Ford Mustang out of Tank Racing. And there's the guy you were just talking about, Tristan Bailey, who's sneaking up again through the field. He's going to be battling with these guys for a top 5 position. So it's just funny how Cream usually rises to the top here. And that's exactly what we're seeing amongst a lot of these guys here. It's been a long time coming, as it's been a green flag race to this point, so no opportunities to bunch the field back up. But nonetheless, everybody's starting to make their way back up to the front of this thing. So we're heading back up to the front of this race as we get a really close look there at the side of the 77. That is still out in front. That 77 Burghart's Ford Mustang also out of Tank Racing. So good night for Tank so far, but Seth Reed out of Highline wanting that lead back.
Yeah, and the guys making the moves are the guys that conserved at the start of their runs. They're not the guys that came out here hard charging and burned off their stuff. The one I'm really shocked with and surprised with is Sylvia. That's 18 positions he's gained on a track where it's really hard to stay with everybody and make passes. I don't know how he made up so many positions. I mean, Service has made up 10, Bailey's made up 11. Those 3 are 5th, 6th, and 7th. So I don't know how they made up so many positions on a track that's so hard to stick with everybody. I mean, we're so separated. I mean, 3rd to 4th is a 5-second or 4-second gap. And then you have 4-second gap back from 4th to 5th. It's crazy that those guys have been able to make up those many positions, or that many positions, on a green flag run like this.
Well, this battle for 12th, Brandon Domain going on by his teammate there, Aaron Gerwitz in the 09. So a few of those guys for Phoenix Virtual that were running up towards the front, falling back a little bit. Danny Dow currently back in 10th, Gerwitz back to 13th. Brandon Domain starting to make his way back up towards the front now, trying to save his stuff. I know he's been working really hard on that craft, but right now a pass for 5th as Max Service works to the inside of the man you were just talking about, Nathan Sylvia, but Tristan Bailey in the mix too as he gets really loose off the exit of 4.
And Bailey's running a little higher. He's running that 3rd groove, and then he's kind of rotating to the top of the track as he comes off the corner to carry as much speed as possible. And it's been working for him really, really well. I see, that was Manning coming down pit road now. So the first of the top 3 to come down pit road is Manning. Reed electing to stay out with Berger this time.
Wow, Bailey got really close to tagging the wall, which is something we've seen happen a few times this week. That thing will sneak out and grab you, so he's got to be careful to keep that car clean because it is running really well now, battling to the outside of Max Service and going to set his sights on Nathan Sylvia here too. And before green flag stops, this was a battle for 5th, so that will be where this group cycles back out. Logan Truitt getting back up into the mix too after his issues on pit road and that first green flag pit stop. So this is a great battle so far, all sprawling out to 3 wide, each one of these drivers using a different lane.
Yeah, and back out front, Manning made his pit stop but came out right in front of Berger and Reed. So he's right there in front of them on fresh tires, so this could help those two to extend their run a little bit longer by drafting off of Manning. But Manning should start pulling away from these guys as he's running. Yeah, he is. He's running about 2 second lap faster. So, he's running way faster laps. Let's put it that way. But I'm surprised Berger and Reed are running this long though. Manning and Reed pitted the same lap last time. Berger came 1 lap later. Manning's out there now 2 laps longer or 2 laps fresher tires than these guys. I don't know how long they're going to run for. They're definitely well within their window. Oh, and here comes Reed.
Yeah, Seth Reed coming down pit road for his final stop if we stay green here, as you see 24 to go. And that hashtag go fast or illuminate there on the scoring tower. So he's going to make his first stop. Nathan De La Rosa a little bit further on back. Going to come on down too with Mike Lepicki. So I have to imagine that's going to force Seth Berger's hand. We'll be curious to see how long Drew Ballesteros stays out. 6 seconds behind Seth Berger right now. He needs a lap led, and I don't think he's done that to this point.
Yeah, I'd be kind of shocked to see Drew come down before Seth. I think he needs to stay out there and get that extra lap. With everybody that's had problems tonight that are right there within the window of him grabbing that 10th spot, I would stay out for that extra lap, even if it affects him too much and he still finishes in the top 5. I mean, he had a 3-second gap between 3rd and 4th where he was at, and then he had another 3 to 4 second gap to 5th. So he's got a little bit of time to play with. If he goes out here and leads a lap, gets that bonus point, goes in and gets his tires, he's going to have fresher tires. He can run a little bit harder than some of these guys. What I'm kind of surprised and watching for is where does Manning, Reed, and Berger come out with 3 different pit strategies for timing?
Well, we'll have to stay tuned and find out. Looks like Drew Ballesteros is going to come down. He's going really slow, though, it looks like. Wondering if he ran out of fuel. Oh, and he's going to get really loose there on entry and almost send it into the wall. Gets it woed up and comes on down for his final stop. Brings the rest of the drivers to accept. And nope, Daniel Keith's going to come down too. I think that 54 is out of gas.
Yeah, I'd say he is. Which is kind of surprising because Bailey and them ran the exact amount of laps that he did. And they were able to make it to their pit stalls under power. So I'm wondering what happened there on how he was able to run out of fuel and the other guys weren't. But back up front, though, Berger came out right with Manning when he finally pitted. So we've seen Berger conserve. Manning is out front, though, right now. It was Berger and Reed, sorry. Manning came out front, and he's got a good gap back to second with Reed. So can Reed run him down? And then Berger, obviously, being able to conserve. He doesn't have as many laps this time for this run to really conserve a whole lot. He can't conserve those 10 to 15 laps like he did because we've only got 22 to go.
We'll battle back here, heating up now as a few of these guys that pitted early are starting to fall back through the field. Marcy pitted on lap 57. That's 6 laps for everybody else. Wow, really tight racing there between Tristan Bailey and Nathan Sylvia. This battle for 5th right here, and then that's 4th place in that 35 car just in front of them. They're about to make it 3 wide going into turn 1.
A crazy battling for position here. Bailey, he's, like I said, he's been on a roll. The biggest loser out of these green flag stops has got to be Ballesteros. He was having a great run there. He got the bonus point for leading a lap. He was in the top 4, and now he's stuck back in 18th after running out of fuel. You can probably guess he's going to come out here and run as hard as possible and pray for a caution, crossing every finger and toe, and probably calling in some favors, see if they can get a caution out on track. I'm sure he's screaming about any debris, rain in the corners, a squirrel, fox running the track, anything possible to get gathered back up, because it's not going to happen for him tonight with being right around 17th.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's a risk. At the end of the day, not sure if it was worth taking. I know we needed that extra bonus point, but when you really think about it and you go for that win, you're going to get that bonus point regardless if you lead that last lap. So stretched it too thin as he ran out of fuel entering pits. I figured he was running a little slow there on the apron. You can get a little more speed out of it here at Michigan as it's such a big track here and a little bit of a faster pit road. But, yeah, he's going to really have to make up some ground. Currently up to 16th. You saw Marcy back in the wall there. He's falling through the field now, back in the 10th position. So back out front, Jacob Manning with a healthy lead, but that lead quickly shrinking.
Yeah, Reed just cut it by a half second in 2 laps, so he's definitely running as hard as he possibly can. Berger's not going to want him to get too far out in front of him, but he's not going to want to run super hard either, because he wants to be able to get to Reed and Manning and make the pass on both of them like he's been doing. But with the lead that Manning got with being able to come down and be out there on fresher tires for almost 3 laps before Reed came down, that gave him the 2 extra seconds per lap that he was running, which adds up to almost 6 seconds of time, that's basically what Reed and Berger came out to, was Manning being almost 6 seconds out in front of him. They're obviously shrinking it, but, I mean, we're whittling down the laps here. We got 18 to go. Berger can't allow these guys to get too far out and then be able to battle them. It's going to be close here. I think Manning might have just had the move of the race.
I don't know. They keep chipping that thing away at least a half a second each lap. We saw this kind of work out last night, too, and the night before. These leads, they will shrink here in a hurry. It's a very long track. 34 miles left in this race in total, even though it says 17 to go. So he's starting to see them get bigger and bigger in his rearview mirror, and that starts adding to the pressure. And with such a small field, too, not a lot of lap cars to work with and kind of get in the way of these guys, so they can see him right there. That's the next car in front of them crossing the stripe right now.
Yeah, and I don't know if you can pull it up, but I'd like to see the speed difference between Manning and Reed. Whether or not Manning is conserving at all. Once he got the lead, did he start conserving so that if Reed and Berger did catch him, he'd still have some tires? Or did he go out here and try to get as much of a lead as possible and hope that these two couldn't run him down? And you know, Berger, he's been sitting back conserving, and Reed's been running really hard, and Berger's just been sitting there letting him drag him around the track. If these two start battling, that's just even bigger news for Manning. He's loving that if that happens.
Yeah, they are not far off from battling, but we've seen it work again. Like I said, 2 teammates, or actually non-teammates, work together to run the leader down. They know that that's their only chance of winning this thing. They cannot go battling one another with 15 laps to go, but now down to 2.3 second lead for Jacob Manning, and he can't really find anybody too far. Zach Deutscher, the next car to go a lap down, he's about 4 seconds out in front of Jacob Manning currently. So these two running nose to tail back here for second and third, chipping away ever so slightly. But further on back here, Sylvia back up to battling with Tristan Bailey here for fourth.
Just going back and forth here for fourth.
Yeah.
I'm proud of Sylvia. That's a big move for him to be up here in the top 5. We don't see him up here in the top 5 that often. I mean, he's made a few moves this season to be up here in the top 10, but, I mean, that's a lot of positions. Like I said, 18 positions to be up to 5th and battling hard with 4th. It's not like Bailey's, a scrub or nothing. That's, the points leader that he's battling. So he's really putting it on the points leader. He's not letting him get away, and he's battling him hard for that position.
Yeah, I mean, it's first and last right now in the playoffs, and you could throw a blanket over them, and you would think they were both the same drivers. So really battling hard here.
Reed.
Yeah, so back out front. We're in second. Yeah, Berger makes the move here on Seth Reed. Let's go ahead and take a look at that as we missed it live and figure out just how he's set up. They're side by side going down the back stretch here, and just looking like we might see another slide job like we saw from him before.
Yeah, he's perfected the slide job. I mean, he's doing so much strategy-wise, is conserving, and then he dives it down in the corner. He slides up in front of him. There's not too much of a battle from Reed. Reed tried to come back on the outside, but Berger is just gone. And now the question is can Berger run down Manning with now 13 to go? He's just over a second back from Manning. You can see how close the gap is closed in. Manning is not that far out in front of him, but he does have 2 lap cars in front of him. If he could work with them and draft on them, or if they get to battling, it is Spies. I don't know if this helps him or hinders
back there. So I think Speed is going to get out of the way of the 50. He's going to get a little pull, though. I think this will help him.
This is going to help.
Not too much, but every little bit helps as Speed gets well out of the way of the leader. Jacob Manning will go right on by. Deutscher, the next car in front of him. Deutscher currently in 20th. He'll be the next car 1 lap down. So Tristan Bailey and Nathan Sylvia still side by side, and Max Service wanting to get in on the mix too.
Yeah, and Spees pulled in right behind Manning too, which then allowed Berger to draft off of Spees, who was drafting off of Manning. It pulled him right by Spees, which then pulled Reed by. So that closed the gap by almost 4/10 by doing that. Berger's closing. He's down to 7/10, 6/10 now, and still coming. But I don't know if Manning's going to give it up that easily. And he's side by side with a lap down car now, the 52. He makes the pass on him, but Berger just closed in even more. He's down to 4/10.
Yeah, half a second. He's got that draft. We're going to have a battle here within this lap. Berger is going to catch this 50, but catching him is one thing. Passing him is another. 10 laps to go here in Michigan to wrap up this first round of the SRN playoffs, and it's a doozy here tonight as well as the last 2 nights. So if you liked what you've seen, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that little bell so you know exactly when we go live. We're going to step aside and come back with the dramatic conclusion. We're going to run a quick commercial break and come right back.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker, the future is feeling.
Silverback Tax Solutions specializes in dealing with IRS tax problems. If you are receiving threatening letters from the IRS, or if the IRS has placed liens or levies on your property, Silverback Tax Solutions can help you find relief. We have worked with hundreds of people to resolve their tax problems. If you're behind on filing your taxes, it's never too late to get on the right track. Silverback Tax Solutions can help with that also. Don't let another night go by where you lose sleep worrying about the IRS or your taxes. Head over to www.silverbacttax.com or call 662-996-4357 and contact an enrolled agent today. We can help you gain peace of mind and deal with those problems for you.
Crossing the stripe, 7 laps to go. We saw a tight battle there for Manning and Berger. They made contact. Berger falling back to third. Seth Reed gets on by. Reed now 0.3 of a second behind Manning, but with 7 laps to go, I am not counting out that 77. He is still well within this draft, and he is going to be excited to get back up here and make a move for this win.
Yeah, the biggest beneficiary of those two battling it out was Reed. He got past Berger after Berger did Manning a really nice favor by not staying on the gas there. He could have turned Manning easily up into the wall with Manning throwing the block and then really trying to pinch him down there. Berger got out of the gas, which allowed Reed to get by him, and now Manning's up here throwing blocks on Reed. Reed's not somebody I'd be trying to block all the time either. So these two are top 4 in the the points. Is these 3 drivers, so I wouldn't count out Berger, because if these two keep battling back and forth and Manning keeps throwing blocks on Reed, you might see both of them go around and Berger sneak this out.
Yeah, 6 laps to go, plenty of time in this race, and it's looking like they're going to get to battling here as Seth Reed takes a peek to the outside. He's got the nose there to the outside. He's going to go ahead and use that high line to his advantage and get a big run out of turn 4 and make it a drag race down the front straightaway. Both of these guys side drafted one another, and you're exactly right. That's going to help out that 77. He's going to start chipping away at this lead and make it a 3-car race for this win. 5 laps to go.
Yeah, Manning's just playing defense right now. He's trying to keep that 81 at the door, but giving him the high line, he's carrying so much momentum down the backstretch and the front stretch that he's going to complete the pass. Now the question is does Berger get back to Manning? I'm sure Berger's not happy in that car right now with the move that was put on him, but Reed didn't flinch at it. He just took a different line and went around him.
Yeah, so 4 laps to go. 3-car race for the lead. Sylvia back there battling with Tristan Bailey for 4th. A really tight battle as Max Service in this mix as well as Logan Truitt. So a great battle back here as well as out in front with 4 laps to go. Each and every driver here with these green banners battling for every point that they can get because they're running out of time to make a move and make it in to the round of 10. $500 on the line once we get to Homestead, and it's a battle out in front again. Manning right on the bumper of that 81.
Yeah, he's not giving up at all. He's giving it everything he's got, everything his tires will give him. I think that was his opportunity right there when he got to the back bumper of the 81. If he was going to give him a nudge to move him up the track, I think that was it. I think Reed might pull away now. I don't know if Manning can do it again.
Oh, I think he's going to get right back to the bumper here. I think he's got
Berger's
Justin
still
Rideout in his ear, knowing what he needs to get done here as they're going to be in turn 3. He's going to have 2 more circuits around this thing once they get back to the start-finish line here. So he's going to try and get a good run out of 4 as they run back down towards that start-finish line. 2 laps to go.
Oh, this thing's going to come down to the last lap, I think. I think if Manning can get to his bumper, I wouldn't be surprised to see him nudge him and move him up out of the track. I don't want to see him wreck him, but I think he could give him a nudge, but I'm still not counting out Berger. I mean, we still got a lap and a half here, and he's closing in again, and he gave Manning a pass this last time. I don't know if he gives it to him again if he gets to him.
Not sure what happened to Nathan Sylvia there, but had to come down pit road, and now back in 20th position after running here in the top 5. But coming back to the stripe, we're going to see that white flag waving. 1 lap to go. Seth Reed leading Jacob Manning and Seth Berger.
Yeah, and I said before the race it was hard not to pick against, or it was hard to pick against the 81 as fast as he's been. I went with Manning. I mean, obviously he's right there in second. Berger, I would have loved to probably pick Berger too, but I think Manning can still get to him. He's right there. Reed is throwing the air off of him, or putting the air on his hood, and here comes Manning to the left corner.
Does he touch
Can he
him?
get to him?
He's right beside him, but I don't think he's going to have a chance to touch him. Does Seth Reed get into the wall? He stays off him. It's a drag race to the line. Who's going to get it? Seth Reed edges him out barely.
I think Manning had an opportunity there to touch him.
Yeah, raced him clean all the way to the end, and Seth Reed is going to come away with a wild one here tonight. That gets you amped up here as we head into the round of 10.
Yeah, I'm trying to see what the gap was. It was close.
Yeah, my scoring showing
0.029.
Yeah, it's showing .03 here on my scoring, so it was a close one to the end. I feel like if Manning didn't make that move down to the apron, and as always, hindsight's 20/20, but might have been able to put a little side draft on the 81 and not use up more track going down to the bottom. Could have been even closer coming to the end, but hey, second ain't too bad when you're battling here with one of the best here this season, the 81. Seth Reed going to burn it down here after missing out 2 weeks ago, leading 95 laps at Charlotte and coming home in 18th. He gets it done here tonight, gets that win.
And, I mean, through the rest of the field, you got Manning and Berger right there in the top 3. You got Bailey, who finished 4th, up 14 positions. Service had a great run, finishing 5th. Logan Truitt, who we mentioned earlier, needed a good run tonight, and needed some favors from some guys to get knocked out, or to get up into the top 10. He finishes 6th. Kazi makes his way back up in the top 10, finishes 7th. Lepicki 8th. Ballesteros rebounds from his running out of fuel and going back to 18th. He comes out 9th.
Ooh.
I don't know if that's going to give him enough run. Reed just smashed it in the infield. I don't know if that gives Ballesteros enough points to make it in or not, but De La Rosa also finishing 10th. He needed a good night as well. 10th is not obviously first, but it's not 25th either, so we'll see what the points equal out here with Benson struggling tonight with not making it back into the field, finishing 25th. It's going to come down to probably only a few points here between 3 or 4 different drivers.
Yeah, and Sean Griffith is going to try and get those numbers for us, I do believe, as he has the last 2 nights. We'll figure out exactly who is going to be moving on, but there's one thing we know for sure. Seth Reed not going to have any issues moving on as he blows that car on up. We're going to head on
have an
up.
issue getting to pit road.
Yeah, he is going to need a little helping hand with that, but we're going to head up to the blimp and check out our top 20 finishing order here this evening, and Seth Reed comes away with it barely over Jacob Manning. A great battle all the way to the end. Seth Berger almost makes a run back up here for this win after getting into it there with the 50. Tristan Bailey and Max Service round out your top 5. Logan Truitt, Joseph Kazi, and Michael Lepicki there in your 8th position. Drew Ballesteros comes home in 9th after his issues, still makes it all the way back into the top 10. And Nathan De La Rosa comes home in 10th place. Rounding out your top 20 will be Daniel Dow, Brandon Domain, Robert Beesall Jr., Chris Bishop, Josh Marcy, Daniel Keith, Aaron Gerwitz, Tyler Murray, Zach Deutscher, and Nathan Sylvia. Unfortunate for him after a great run here tonight, comes home in 20th. So that's a look at your top 20 finishing order here tonight. So let's go ahead and move on to the interview portion. And I think we're going to have a few happy drivers here in the chat after a great run in this first round of the playoffs. So let's go ahead and bring up Seth Berger. Seth, it's Greg Olenek and Curtis Swatsworth up here in the SRN broadcast booth. Congrats on a third-place run here tonight. I know you probably think you had a winning car here and unfortunately didn't come away with the win, but a great first round for you here in the Xfinity Series. How does this set you up for Chicagoland, Nashville, and Kentucky?
I mean, ever since the All-Star break, the cars have been having winning pace, so that's great. And I guess this was a good learning experience. Pretty mad at myself right now for I think I threw it away. I should have been more patient. Manning did what he should have done. He defended it, and I just got too excited. Yeah, I definitely think I should have won this tonight, but good job to Reed for being patient and getting the win there.
I mean, Berger, you touched on it there with the move. I would agree. You probably did throw it a little bit away, but I think for me, you come away with more respect because you went into the corner. Manning tried to pinch you down there. You did touch, side panels a little bit there as you went into the corner. And it looks like you let off the gas, which allowed Manning to go, and then Reed come by you. What was the instinct there when you did make contact? Was it, don't wreck him, or was there instinct going in saying, hey, if he comes down on me, it is what it is. It's a racing deal. I mean, obviously you let off the gas, so I'm just wondering what was your instinct there? What made you do that?
I was setting it up how I did every other pass, or most passes I did tonight, to be honest. I think I did about the same thing I did. It's just I think Manning caught on and pinched me down there. I wasn't expecting that. So, when I saw him up there and my car slid up a little more than I wanted, I actually slammed the brakes a little bit just to try to minimize the contact. And, oh, yeah, I think I hit the brakes a little bit too hard there, but I'm glad it didn't wreck him. Again, learning experience. It could be more helpful than a win, going into the playoffs, especially starting on even ground no matter what. So, yeah, learning lessons, man. This one hurts, but I had winning pace.
In my opinion, you had the car to beat, bud.
All right. Well, Seth, before we let you go, you got any friends, any family, any sponsors you want to give a quick shout out to?
Shout out to Burger Nation for anyone who's watching right now. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. I'm sorry I couldn't come away with that one. Shout out to Berg Arts on Instagram and TikTok. Had a photo shoot this last Friday, so we're going to get those photos and videos edited to have a new drop. Shout out to Ed Scherer for spotting me tonight. He did a great job spotting me. Shout out to all my tank teammates, and also got to thank Bergeson Farms, Bus Security, Kieran Dental, Hunter Don Anesthesia, Park Brothers Racing, Parkway Lanes, Teespring, Healthcare Billing Incorporated, EWL, and all my teammates.
Awesome job here tonight. Awesome job in the first round. Keep your head up, man, and know that you had a great car here tonight. You're probably going to have a pretty good car once you get out to Chicago. So you're exactly right. Even playing ground once you get out there and start the round of 10. So we'll see what you got here in the 77. But, man, out of everybody right now, I feel like you have the most momentum here in the Xfinity Series. So go ahead, have a good night. Enjoy celebrating with your teammates after a good run here, and we'll see you next week at Chicago.
Thank you. It's a home track.
There you go. So you got to win. All right. Well, that was our third place finisher here this evening. Let's go ahead and move on to our runner-up and bring Jacob Manning up into the broadcast booth. Jacob, it's Greg Olenek and Curtis Wadsworth. You come home in second again here tonight, but a great run nonetheless. You, Seth, I should say, were pretty much the class of the field here. Kind of separated yourself from the rest. How was it battling with those guys? You're starting to get familiar with one another.
Yeah, I enjoy the respect about it. I feel like I'm not. I don't got to go in over my head around them. I mean, I obviously got to try really hard because they're really good, and that's intimidating each week, and that makes me want to push harder and do better. And there's one more that was missing tonight, who should have been up there, Joseph Kazi, and I made a mistake. I ended his night, and I guess I should say it over the broadcast and say I'm sorry, Joseph, because I did not mean to get into him at all. Made a mistake, and it was very unfortunate. I think he would have had a race-winning car just like we did. He would have been up there with us probably the entirety of the race. It's unfortunate I had to take away from that. I don't feel good about that. I don't feel like I should be up here in second, but somehow it happened.
Well, Kazi did rebound. He came back to seventh, so not too much of a disappointing race for him. But like you said, he was really fast too. But we were talking to Seth right there about the coming or closing laps there. You made a few different blocks on him. You made a few different blocks on Seth Reed. You came in and pitted a little bit earlier than those guys. You and Reed had pitted together the first stint there under the green flag stops. Second time around, you came in about 2 laps before Reed did and about 3 or 4 laps before Berger did. And you got out to about a 6-second lead by doing that because you were out on track on the fresh tires longer than earlier than they were able to come down pit road. Coming there towards the end there, give us kind of a rundown from your view of what happened between you and Berger there as you went into the corner.
Well, I mean, first of all, I knew I had to, pit pretty early and try and short pit him. I knew I couldn't stay out longer than him, especially Berger, because he had pitted after me on the first run. So tried to short pit, and it worked out. I had my lines wrong tonight. I couldn't seem to get the line down, and I was slower. So I think if I had that down, it would have gone a lot better. But I let them get to me, and he came with a head of steam, and I tried a few corners of taking his line away, and it worked a little bit, and then he moved around and gained some speed in the line that I was running, so he was able to get a run on the front stretch, and I tried to hold him low and make him go high, and then I went back high to try and get the arc into the corner the same way, and so he went low, so I went low with him to hold him down as much as possible, and from what I saw, he came up a little bit, and maybe there was some contact made or something. I had to move up the track to not get taken out. But it's that stuff just kind of hard racing. It's what happens. He's sending it in there trying to get by me as quick as possible because he knows that Seth Reed isn't too slow and he's got the car to win. He's way better than us. I felt his speed was just crazy. So he's trying to get by me and go win the thing, and stuff happened. So it was unfortunate. I wish it didn't happen. I wish we were able to race a little bit cleaner than that. I don't like to be the guy who's getting into people. I just felt like I had a kind of off day. Felt like Ross Chastain tonight. It was not fun.
I can tell you Berger did say he didn't have any ill feelings or nothing like that. He said you did what you had to do. He slammed on the brakes, which let Reed by him, but he said, maybe it was a good thing for later on in the season or whatever if you two are racing next to each other. But he said once the contact was made, he slammed on the brakes to not wreck you, which definitely killed his speed. But, I mean, you were really, really fast as well. Don't take anything away from Reed, or Berger, because all three of you were super fast. You three had different driving styles, though, but all three of you you and Reed ran really hard, it seemed like, and Berger kind of conserved, but then obviously switching up 3 different pit strategies of that last run, it was insane to watch from the booth. And I think Greg and I were just kind of super excited coming to the finish line with you and Reed only separated by .03.
Yeah, I mean, me and Reed were really close. I could tell our lines were pretty similar, but I really didn't feel like I was running it too hard. I thought I was doing my usual Michigan line, and it's worked pretty good for me in the past, doing that high arc like that. And for some odd reason, it just wasn't. I couldn't get a rhythm on it tonight, and I guess I'm gonna have to do some practice for the coming weeks because it looks like that's 2 weeks in a row now that line is just not working anymore at tracks that it's always been so dominant for me at. So I'm gonna have to figure something out because these other guys they're on their stuff.
Well, Jacob, before we let you go, you got any friends, any family, any sponsors you want to give a quick shout out to?
Yeah, of course, as always, and first and foremost, God for being with me tonight. He, I was angry a lot. There were a lot of things that I was very angry at, myself included, for the Kazi incident and maybe a little bit for the Seth Berger incident. Could have been avoided, both of those, and he helped calm me back down. It's very easy to just let those things take over and push you into more mistakes and more mistakes and more mistakes, or you just ruin your night. And I was able to come back and finish second, .029 off Seth Reed, about that close. So it was really good to have that help tonight with everything. All the viewers, everyone who watches, everyone who supports me, especially, makes it so much more comfortable for me up here. It makes me want to go better each week. It makes me want to put in the practice and beat these guys, just because I got people watching, people supporting, people who want to see me win, and I hate to let them down. You guys up in the booth who do this every week, it's amazing. The broadcast is incredible. It's not even just the league anymore. It's the broadcast. It's everything is crazy. All the admins, everything that's done here in this league is done right. It's done good, and I have so much appreciation for that from you guys, the admins, and everyone. Justin Rideout for helping me throughout the race, giving me strategy calls, helping calm me down when I get mad. He's definitely helping that. Teammates, of course, also always helping out. Always seem to be really calm, and it helps me out. But I also got to shout out the sponsors, of course. Rogue Energy, it's that energy drink on the hood. You can see it's good stuff. You can use code JW Racing for 10% off, by the way. Saloon Door Sports, Smeared Mechanical, Roof Sport, and JW Racing as a whole for making all this happen. It's incredible. I love to do this every week. It's my passion, and everyone who just makes it that much better is, I don't even, it makes me speechless. It's incredible.
All right, man. Well, we're going to make you a walking billboard if you keep it up and starts out in the league like that too much. But, hey, great job here tonight. Runner-up here this evening. Start working on your tracks for the round of 10. Got Chicago, Nashville, and Kentucky coming up before we go and finish the season off at Homestead. So best of luck next week. Get to practicing. Have a good night. Celebrating the good run. And we'll see you.
See you guys. Appreciate it.
All right. That was our runner-up here tonight, Jacob Manning, coming home in P number 2. Let's go ahead and move to the man of the hour. Bring Seth Reed on up, who's still talking to his team captain down there. Seth Reed, it's Greg Olin and Curtis Wadsworth up in the broadcast booth. We're expecting to hear from us after another win here tonight at Michigan. How's that feel, man, to cap off the first round of the playoffs with a win after the way some of these guys have been running this season, especially late in the season? To take one here has to feel pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, you have to run a perfect race to be able to win these.
And you hearing Seth, Curtis?
You got me?
Yeah, I got him.
Hear me?
Oh, okay.
I can hear him just
I
fine.
got you now. My bad, Seth. Go ahead.
I think
go
he
ahead.
muted
You
you,
good?
Seth.
You good? Oh man, I forget what I was about to say, but
Ah.
it's just so hard to win these races, man. Like, you have to run a perfect race, and like somehow I lucked into one today, with the 50 and 77 getting together just a little bit. But man, this one's more of a relief after what happened 2 weeks ago, to be honest with you. But I still almost threw it away there in the last corner. I was looking at my my mirror, at the 50 and seeing where he was going to drive it in, seeing if he's going to give me a little bump, trying to like play defensive a little bit, and then I got on the gas a little too early, and I was a little too high on the line, and I started pushing. I had to like check up a little bit, come out of the corner, and gave the 50 a chance to get to me. Made it exciting though for the viewers, I bet.
Oh, it definitely made it exciting for the viewers and us up here in the booth as well. That gap was a .03 to the finish line. So, yeah, you touched on it there. I talked to the other guys there, but from your view, being in third place, watching the 77 and the 50 battle there as they made contact, the 77 said that he slammed on the brakes probably a little bit too hard, which allowed you to go right back by him. And then you closed in on the 50. You and Berger both pitted after the 50 did, so you guys were on a little fresher tires. When you got to the 50, he was throwing blocks just like he was throwing to the 77. And we noticed earlier on in the race when the 77 did the slide job on you, you went right to his back bumper, and he got a little squirrely there. Was there any thought when you got to the 50 here late in the run here or closing laps if he did block you hard enough where he was right in front of you to give him the bump?
No. I mean, he tried to block me. You just have to anticipate it. I knew he was on a couple lap order tires, and the fall off here is like a tenth to 2/10 per lap until you get into the draft, obviously. But I knew he was going to try to block me low coming off turn 2, and I was already cutting right as he was cutting left to get to his right rear. I knew if I got to his outside, it's going to be pretty easy to pass him, but I knew that with the draft, he's going to be getting runs on me going into each corner, which is pretty much what happened. But yeah, I mean, you just want to be side by side. Early in the race, yeah, I just pushed him. I mean, we're going to slow each other down. I'm going to wear my stuff out if I try to do slide or crossovers and whatnot that early in a race, and yeah.
I got to mention too, this gives you another win going into this is your first win in several weeks after laying down some 3 or 4 wins. I think you win the final race of the first round. Now we go to the second round. Does this give you a giant boost?
Well, you said 3 or 4 wins. It should be 4. So you're always thinking about the ones you lost and learning from those mistakes. And I mean, it doesn't matter now. It's tie ball game, and next week we have 10 drivers going for 5 spots, and there's usually 10 people that can win the championship if they play the cards right. So the pressure is definitely going to be on next week.
Oh man, I'm wishing I was out there with you. It's so fun battling with everybody out there in the playoffs. Such a tense moment, but it brings out the best in all the drivers. So best of luck next week. But before we let you go, you got any friends, any family, any sponsors you want to give a quick shout out to?
Yeah, I mean, first off, shout out to Wayne Rayborn, teammate. He had a family loss here a couple weeks ago, so that's why he hasn't been in the field, and thoughts and prayers to him. I want to win it a couple weeks ago for him when he was in the field and celebrate with him, but made a rookie mistake. But and then all the other teammates at Highline, and most definitely y'all broadcasting. I just love watching it each week, playing it back, and y'all do a hell of a job up there, and all the competitors, man, like. No cautions. I mean, I feel like the truck race had 7. The cup race, I forget how many they had.
2 in the cup, yeah.
2. Yeah, so I just feel like this Xfinity League, man. These Xfinity cars just put on a good show. They're fun. It's hard to drive these things, and just everyone who pretty much participates in this league, like. This league's probably one of the best leagues I've ever been in, so I I look forward to every week, and I am not looking forward to the off season.
Oh man, we got 4 weeks to go before we have to worry about that. So go ahead, man. Get to practice in Chicago, Nashville, Kentucky, all up next, and everybody back on an even playing field. So that's gonna shake it up a little bit. But great job tonight. Great job in this first round, and keep it up, man. I'm rooting for you out there after you missed out on the Final Five last season. I think you can get it done here this year. So have fun celebrating with you and the guys, and don't stay up too late. You got to work tomorrow. It is Friday, unfortunately, still. So, but hey, last day of the week, and you can celebrate in the weekend. So best of luck, man, and we'll see you in Chicago.
Thanks, Greg. And just want to say I just don't want to lose by 1 point to get to the championship round. So that's the goal.
Don't know what you're talking about, man, but I know you got it here this year. You're running great. Keep it up, man. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
All right. Well, that is it for tonight, Curtis. A great race, like he foreshadowed and said there. Green flag the entire way. And you wouldn't have known it with that finish.
Yeah, it was a few sketchy moments there early on where we could have probably had a caution come out with Kossi spinning across the front stretch, or Spees going up into the wall with a couple other drivers there getting turned as well. Could have probably had a caution or two, but they all kept it going, and iRacing didn't throw the flag, so complete race, green flag runs. It was came down to 3 feet separating them there coming to the finish line after that many green flag laps. So incredible racing by these guys, and I think Reed said it best. This Xfinity series, it's super tight. I know the Cup and the Truck is also pretty tight, but this Xfinity series, 0 cautions at the same track, like he said, with 2 priors being done, with 7 and 2, and 0 in this one. These guys, they're putting on a show for us.
Well, here's a look at your final 10 drivers, separated by 0.3 of a second here tonight at the finish line, and separated by 3 points at the cut line. Spees missing out, Ballesteros missing out, Tyler Murray, Bo Tiffany, Nathan Sylvia, and Jack Hedgecox all gonna go home. But Tristan Bailey, Jacob Manning, Seth Reed, Joseph Causey, Seth Berger, Max Service, Kyle Benson, Michael Larch, Nathan De La Rosa, and Logan Truitt all make it on into the next round. So those 2 drivers that were battling coming into this week on the cut line both make it in. The 2 JBR cars move on to the round of 10. But that's going to do it for us here tonight. We sincerely thank each and every one of you for stopping on by here after a wonderful July 4th weekend. We come back with a bang here in week number 16. So please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that little bell too, so you know exactly when we go live next week when we get out to Chicago. So for myself, Curtis Swatsworth, all the admins behind the scenes, and each and every one of the drivers here, we sincerely thank you for stopping on by. And remember, always go faster.